family leave, the cost, there's no administrative cost on the employer. It's handled by the state. In the states that have
he doesn't have to keep records?
No.
No record keeping at all, huh? Wow, that's a pretty interesting
you.
program. That must be unique.
The state keeps the records.
Who reports to the state, Eileen?
The employee.
The employee does. The employer has nothing to do with it. Well, we'll see how that works.
The employer is informed, of course, that the person's not there, but the employer has no record-keeping responsibility.
Let me raise one other issue, and then we're going to
wait. But I just want to say something.
Go ahead.
In response to what's been said.
Yes.
The take-up rate, the number of people that actually that have a need for a paid family leave is extremely small. In the year that we did the survey, among small employers, only 7% had any employee take any kind of family leave. And big employers, of course, had more had a greater incidence, but had only 2% of their employees taking it. The problem for employers for covering work is way greater when you think about vacations, which every employee gets, as opposed to a paid family leave. These are rare events in the life of a business. They are big events in the life of a person, but relatively rare events in the life of a business. So employers have much bigger problems. And if you don't give your workers a paid family leave, your kid has been hit by a bus, and your employer says, no, you can't go to the hospital. You have to come in here. We need you here. You can't miss a day work, because that's what he's talking about. But
Eileen,
talking about the money.
one second.
Employee is going to leave.
Let me.
And turnover costs are higher, and the time until you replace that worker takes longer.
That is a cartoonish exaggeration of business owners. Eileen imagines that they're greedy and self-interested and they don't use their workers. And I've never met a business owner. I owned a business. There's no way any of our members would say to an employee, you have to get to work because your kid got hit by a bus.
I agree with that statement, exactly. And so employers are already doing it. So
Eileen, his point.
Getting the time off, why would they object to the employee drawing pay from a
before everybody turns off their radios, we're almost out of time for this segment anyway. And let me get you to go one at a time on just two other very short points. Eileen, to follow up on what Jack was saying, if a business can give employees paid time off, they generally will, is his premise. If they really can't because they've got that small a margin, that's when they won't. Why is that not a fair place to leave it?
That's the whole point of paid family leave insurance. I agree completely with that statement, and in fact, while I applaud any company that gives its workers paid family leave, I don't think that that's the way that we should go, because many employers will not be able to afford that. That's why we need social insurance. That's why we need a fund like Gillibrand is talking about. 0.2% of payroll will fund the ability to give these workers paid time off without asking the employer to pay for it. I do not think that paid family leave is something that employers should be asked to pay for.
And so, Jack, if that's really the premise, and to conclude it on this, if it's really not coming out of the employer's pocket to cover those work days with temps or whatever, then you would aggressively still argue against this bill just so there's no paperwork, if there is paperwork, and for the lost productivity of having the more experienced workers?
Well, we'd have to survey our members and ask them what they think. We'd have to basically ask them. But what a lot of them will say is, and I'm sure of this because I spoke to them, they say, I need my workers there. And I understand if they have some family emergency, they can't be there. Everybody, that's life, that happens. But I can't pay, and I'm still going to have to hire a temp. I'm going to have to reassign other employees to that absent worker's job. I'm going to have to let the work go unfinished. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And so, that's the bottom line. I mean, none of these things are without consequences or cost. It's one thing for the advocates to point to these multinational corporations and say they should all provide these benefits. Most of them do. Most of our members do. But the ones that don't provide benefits like this don't because they can't.
Jack Muslim, National Media Director for the Small Business Advocacy Group, the National Federation of Independent Business. Irene Applebaum, Senior Economist at the Center for Economic and Policy Research, a liberal-leaning think tank in Washington. Thank you both very much.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks very much.
Brian Lehrer on WNYC. Coming up next, we'll talk about something that I don't think was a problem in this past segment. Introverts. The Quiet Power, the Secret Strengths of Introverts. A Guide for Kids and Teens by Susan Cain. Susan next.
Gladstone, and on this week's On the Media, every election cycle, the media float the idea of a technocrat to lead a third party. Problem is, the voters don't agree.
No one sits around thinking, boy, I wish Mark Zuckerberg could be president, or I want to support a party that's based on innovation.
Don't miss this week's On the Media from WNYC. Tonight at 8 on 93.9 FM, WNYC.
WNYC receives support from Geico, offering motorcycle and RV insurance. More information on motorcycle and RV insurance at geico.com or 1-800-947-AUTO. WNYC is a media partner of the Public Theater, presenting Free Shakespeare in Central Park, beginning with an all-female production of The Taming of the Shrew, May 24th through June 26th. Tickets at publictheater.org. WNYC salutes the arts. Join us in supporting cultural organizations, including Mr. Artsy, a specially designed vehicle and mascot bringing arts education and advocacy around the country with a focus on underserved communities. And Lyra Music, a classical music summer camp, festival, and competition for youth, seeking to inspire and nurture tomorrow's musicians today.